Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video I'm going to be going over Michonne 2000. I'm going to be showing you some gameplay, giving you my ideas on how to build her with her combat mods and her weapon and stuff like that, but you're going to be able to see how hard hitting this character is with the way I'm going to set her up. If you want to check out my preview of this character, you can do so. I break down everything in her kit into quite heavy detail, but we're not going to be doing that in this video. In this video, we're just going to be going over how I'd build her, that sort of thing. And if we look on the left hand side, you can see I've got a fully maxed out. This is with full lieutenant system, fully maxed out at level 640, 27,482 damage is her base damage at fully maxed out. Extremely high attack stat for sure, 100%. When it comes to her skills, I would recommend pretty much upgrading everything here because it all applies damage. It's all going to amplify her damage. So all of her skills are worth upgrading. So you want to max all of those out if you can. It's going to make her more likely to take someone out. It's just as simple as that. She's a damage dealer. That's her job. Imagine these were all like healing things and she's a healer. Then it would be probably a good idea to max that character out as well. So we'll go across to the combat mods and I'll just give my ideas here. I've talked about this a little bit before, where in terms of attack set or crit set when it comes to characters. Now we know she's got a rampage weapon, but she is also single target on her rush. So you've got to make the choice. Do you want to increase the rampage damage or do you want to increase the single target damage that she does on her rush? Now, the reason I personally would go with crit set is because the increase with attack set is only going to be a small percentage, like 20% of her base damage. So you can see 20% of her base damage is going to be like around about 5k, 5,000 damage. Whereas a flat 50% or, more increase in her crit hits is going to be much higher, considering she's going to be hitting extremely hard if you have her fully kitted out again, with things like strong attacks weapons in there, and we're going to be doing that in the gameplay test in a moment. I'm going to go with crit set because I think it's probably the best way to go. You obviously want to get as high an attack on crit that you can get. I'm using pretty much the same mods that I would normally use on my Sandy, and I'm just switching them across to this character right now. Now, for the attack versus, I would probably double down on attack versus on these two slots, just to basically make it so she does more damage against 3 traits, fast, and then the 2 you decide, or the 2 you've got the highest. So, for instance, I've got 58% against alert, which is pretty high, and then here we'll go with 46% versus strong. So here I'm doing quite a lot of damage. Now, if there's a meta team at the time, so let's say it's alert and strong, these would be great because she's going to be doing damage against the meta characters in the meta defense team. You want to switch these up based on that, basically. In the bottom right hand corner, simply put, the resist is the meta resist. Now there's 2 meta resists right now. There's obviously the big one, which is going to be bleed. So you could put bleed resist on her, but from already testing this out, I have found that the bleed is not a problem if you have a certain character in your team, which we're going to be using, which is Scotsman. But the maim can be. So if you have maim resist in your team, that's quite important. I need to max this one out, but if you have maim resist in your team, that's going to be very, very useful. Because obviously characters like Governor can still do their outlast and actually get their rush off. And she's going to get one shot a lot of the time if you build her extremely offensive, just because if you look at her HP, it's less than 20k. Governor's almost always going to do more than 20k damage. Now, she does do Guardian Shield, so she can sometimes just survive it because of that. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner, for me, it's pretty obvious. Crit multiplier again. Get as much damage as possible. You can see from the set bonus, she's getting an extra 70% crit damage. That means her crits are just going to hit 70% harder on the actual crit part of the damage, which is awesome. And then again, here, she's getting another 46.5. So it all adds up. This is really good single target damage, and that's what I'm pretty much gearing her towards. Okay, so I've fully maxed out the mods I want to use, and I have hit apply. You can see their attack stat has gone up to just over 34,000, extremely high attack stat, and her base attack is obviously one of the highest in the game. She has got much lower HP, and I did talk about this in my preview video, where this is slightly beneficial because she's going to get the Guardian Shields more regularly, unless you have characters that, actually no, she should always get them, honestly. I don't think there's any way, unless you boost her HP, like in this central slot, If you give her something to give her more survivability, then she potentially could not get them. But if you don't boost her HP, she's almost always going to. She's got one of the lowest HPs in the game, and that's both beneficial for the Guardian Shields, but also you've got to be very careful. You've got to take a character that's going to cleanse that bleed, because we haven't got bleed resist on her kit. It's extremely important that she gets that cleansed. So this is the team that we're going to be testing her out in. You can see her attack stat has been massively boosted yet again because of the 1535s that are next to her. We have also got a strong attacks weapon in Wayland's hands, so she's going to be getting an extra 50% attack boost. And then obviously the Scotsman's there. We know why the Scotsman's there. He's going to cleanse the bleeds, and when he dies, he's obviously going to give out 50% AP. It's actually going to be really nice for Michonne. She could potentially get a very, very early rush because of this. And the bonus is if she takes out characters, she's got a chance to revive the Scotsman back up, so you can get full points in war. Unless you have, you know, someone like Alice as a leader, you would be sacrificing a little bit of damage. But if you've got Alice as a leader, obviously you could do that guaranteed before you rush with Michonne. And then you could pick him up, and then at least that way you've got max points in war. But with Michonne, we just want to get her damage up as much as possible. Now this is how I upgraded Michonne 2000's weapon. You can see I went with 45% attack and a huge bonus to AP when attacking. Very basic upgrades, didn't have to do anything too special here. Just normal upgrades. If you don't get them, you just reset it until you get them, because you know, you're not going to lose out on Rampage, you're not going to lose out on the reviving. They're always going to be there on the base. So you can get the weapon to nice and shiny on the left-hand side, the dark blue, but also you can get that big attack stat. 45% is nice and high, and the huge bonus is going to be nice because, like I said, if you've got characters like the Scotsman, you need as much AP off that first turn as possible. He's almost always going to get taken out. You've actually got a big potential of getting that second turn rush. And if you get command Rick 2000 eventually, well, you can potentially just command regardless at any point. And the more AP, the better. So the first team I'm going to test it against is this team right here. And you can see they are extremely tanky. This is an extremely tanky defense team. They are all tanks, so they've all got crit resistance too, which is kind of hard to deal with for characters you're wanting to get crits on. But we're going to see what we can do here. We've also got a windowless team here. We've got, you know, stun weapons, absolute defense weapons, and all the good stuff. AP drain and impair weapons. So very nice, like tanky team. It's just going to be pure stat. This is to see how hard she can hit when you are coming up against pure tanky teams. And right now there's a mixture of like really tanky teams, and then you have those that one or two offensive characters in the team, and we do have one or two offensive characters in this team with Governor and Morgan being there. But we're going to try it out against a team with Zachary in a moment, but we're going to try it out with this team first. Okay, so I would still take Scotsman in this situation because you just never know. When you're attacking, you just don't know what the other team has, especially the first time you attack them, the way things work. And disarm is going to be quite important. Obviously, it's going to be harder to hit crits because we can have resists come in. And I'm just going to disarm someone who I think I might be able to get some stuns on, potentially awesome. If I can get a stun on him in the first 3 attacks, like these 3 attacks just here, that's great. And then we can just come in with Michonne, and we know it's most likely going to be a takedown. You can see the big damage came in. We also saw that Morgan's got his bide up. You know, this is going to be a problem, but with those Guardian Shields, and you can see there's a cheeky Guardian Shield on Scotsman as well, that's going to absorb one of their basic attacks. It's going to stop AP gain. And in this situation, it doesn't really matter what I do, but I'll still do Scotsman's. I'll still do Scotsman's active because why not? He will get taken out. Well, I think he's got an absolute defense weapon in his hands, maybe. No, he doesn't. And you can see that I'm mostly alive, and you can see Michonne's very close to full AP. So you could potentially swap out one of these characters for an 8% weapon. You know, you could bring Skins, for instance, who's got a very good kit to keep Michonne alive because it gives massive amounts of bonus HP. So big bonuses there. What we're going to do now is we're going to disarm 2 characters if we can. We do manage to disarm 2. And what we're going to do is we're just going to do her signature move. I'm going to do crosshairs on this Michonne first. We'll do the signature move on this central character. It will take him out, and we're going to do some rampage damage. If it hits, this is the bonus here. If it hits Morgan, he's going to do his bide, but I've got a Guardian Shield, so I'll fully absorb it. So like it's actually like going to be removing his bide for free, basically, in this situation. It doesn't actually hit Morgan, but we will stun. Who do we stun on the side? We stun Frost at the top. And what we're going to do is we're just going to disarm Frost if we can. Oh no, we don't need to disarm Frost, but I'm just going to rush now. The reason this is a bit. I kind of want to get this bide to come off. There we go. And then now the Guardian Shield should come in on the first attack. And you can see the crit resistance is heavy. The crit resistance is heavy. Now, I think I've got a defense while stunned on this character. No, he's got a defense while disarmed. So he was taking barely any damage. But you can see, we'll see the kind of damage that she did at the end. And this was quite nice against a tanky team. Remember, there's no defense down. It's just attack up. 50% bonus attack. And you can see she did 200,000. That was a 3-turn win against, like I said, a very tanky team. And these are going to be just as tanky as any other characters you're going to get. Cliff, you know, I'll show you the stats again on the defense team. As you see, Frost on the right-hand side, he's going to be just as tanky as, let's say, someone like Cliff. It might be switched around based on the HP and defense. But you saw lots of damage get taken by these characters, and that's what tanks are going to have. Now, I did even shoot myself in the foot a little bit where I disarmed Frost, but just for the sake of it. I think I was just worried, honestly. I'm just worried. But I forgot I had a defense while disarmed on him. So her damage was drastically reduced by like 100%. Massive reduction there. That's where the defense while disarmed power comes in. But she still managed to push through that, get massive amounts of damage off. 200k in 3 turns is really nice. Now remember, if you did have a command, when she did her signature move on turn 2, you could have just commanded her in that situation. And I'd say, generally speaking, it would have been beneficial. I could have actually focused Morgan in that point because I had the Guardian Shield on that turn. Whereas, as you saw, when it came to turn 3, I had to work out how to do it without proccing the Bide. Because the Bide can one-shot Michonne without a doubt. But the Guardian Shield's there to keep her alive. So if she's got a Guardian Shield and you command her, she's going to be fine. I could focus Morgan himself and just wreck him and be absolutely fine. Okay, so this time around, we're going to switch out Mercer and we're going to put in Zachary, the Bleed King, as everyone knows right now. And he's got an absolute defense weapon. I think he's just got a maxed out weapon, attack, HP, absolute defense, and 1535, just to boost that bleed a little bit. Again, fully windowless team, pretty much the same, much more offensive based. But like I said, I've talked about this a bit, where a lot of my team and how I set up is geared to stopping Zachary. If he's not on the team, it's not as great because obviously I've geared a lot of stuff towards stopping him being an issue. But if he is there, he's kind of countered quite heavily, but it gives the opportunity for the other characters to actually do stuff. But Michonne's damage is just so high, and the strong attacks weapons, full strong team, that everyone gets boosted. It's such a nice little makeup on the strong attacks team. And I did say this once, like right at the beginning of the Mythic era, the potential for a strong attacks team is pretty big. Okay, so we're going to attack this Zachary team, and as you can see, I've got characters that are bleeding. Negan, Michonne 2000, and Michonne are all bleeding. Scotsman can cleanse 3 teammates. As I just swipe left, you can see all of those bleeds just disappear. He cannot cleanse it on himself, so unfortunately he is done for. As long as Wayland, Negan, or Michonne in the bottom right-hand corner resist bleed, one of those characters, Scotsman will cleanse it from the other 3. Obviously, Michonne 2000 does not have bleed resist in her kit. It's a bit of a risk I'm taking, but I want her to do more damage. That's why. Now, unfortunately, there's a downside of having an S-Class in your team is if I hit a crit here with Michonne, the S-Class is the character that's going to get the Guardian Shield. Now, that isn't terrible. It would normally block one of the basic attacks, but because he's bleeding, he's going to get taken out before he gets attacked. So it's kind of useless. She doesn't hit the crit, so it doesn't matter too much. There was a resist. Crit resistance. Tanks are a big problem. Fortunately, some of the more recent characters that are coming out are got cunning because they're support characters, and they're not going to be able to crit resist as much, which is great. Especially for Michonne. So we'll just get the rush in here. Hopefully we can take him out. We managed to. See, I said before, this Michonne even seems to be getting like a little buff on this team, which is nice. And we'll take this dude up here because he got disarmed. I know I won't do as much damage because of the defense while disarmed I've got on him. And we're not going to try and take out Zachary down the bottom. We actually did do a little bit of damage to Morgan, and I think we removed the bide. Nice, that's actually really beneficial. And we stunned him. Interesting. We'll remove this. I think I'll still infect someone else. And we're going to try and... we're going to just see what we can do here. We're going to try and blow up the team. We did get a revive in. That's nice. I think this is good. We just need to I think we just need to, I think we can decap this guy, yeah. And then we just finish off this dude, hopefully. Man, he's so tanky with that defense while disarmed. He's good. I was like, yes, we're going to survive with all 5, but unfortunately. Or maybe, come on, Michonne. Bring Scotsman back. Oh my God, she did it. She's only gone and done it. So that was a 4-turn win, and it was a little bit slower, but like it's much harder. You've got to use much more of your kit towards dealing with Zachary in this team. The Guardian Shields are going to be around a bit more because, you know, Zachary does a Guardian Shield to himself. Guardian Shields, this is probably like one of the worst case scenarios that you could come across, where it's like lots of tanks so they can resist the crits, lots of Guardian Shields so they can stop the excess damage, and very offensive. So surviving with 5 is really difficult to do against these sort of teams right now. And I got lucky. We got 2 revives come in. The S-class characters are a big problem when it comes to obviously keeping those characters up. But that's kind of the big bonus of having Michonne in this team. She's going to get those revives in. And I would definitely say she's going to be her and someone else. It doesn't matter too much who the other damage dealer is. But the co-op between 2 damage dealers is great, and Michonne 2000 is just so powerful. So that's my idea on how to build Michonne, what skills to upgrade, what combat mods to use. Obviously, you can switch it up yourself. Do tell me if you've got any other ideas on how you build her. I think this is a pretty good baseline build for her if you were wanting to get the best out of her. There probably is going to be some slight, you know, small things that pop up that could be better for Michonne herself, and it also depends on those defense team characters. Like I said, if let's say tough characters became a big deal on defense teams, then you'd want to have an attack versus tough mod. But the damage output is awesome. She definitely can blow up teams, and like I said, 50% strong attacks weapon boost is massive. And if there is a defense down that comes in at some point as well, well then, that could be pretty tasty. But like I said, do give me your thoughts on how you'd build Michonne in the comments down below. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.